Bang, bang, not here. Look at what we're making today. We've got some absolutely crispy, delicious, smoky, salty, yum, yum, yum bacon. Bacon! And this is rice paper bacon. So we're going to be taking our beloved rice paper. Not all rice paper is the same, so be aware of that. As we take the rice paper, I have my little spray bottle, and I'm going to just start spraying the rice paper to moisten it. It's going to start turning and flipping on me, which is fine. Let that sit, get the next one going. The reason I do this is so when I get ready to use the scissors and cut it, it actually is cutting and not snapping and breaking. You could dredge it through a bowl of water, but I just find doing it with a spray bottle works much better. Now that I've got all three of those together, I actually like to put a little salt in them. Bacon is salty, so I just put a little salt in between them and let that salt be there for it, and then push them together. Very simple. Remember, rice paper sticks to one another, and we're doing a 3-ply here because I like the texture that comes out with the width of the bacon instead of a 1-ply, 2-ply. So that's pretty much it as we get this going. I'm just going to start massaging it now, spraying it a little bit more, massaging it, and getting it to where I can go ahead and cut it. Nice. Just flipping it back and forth. Not quite on the ends here. A little bit more water. And it's starting to do what I want it to do. Nice and pliable. Now, bacon is straight strips, so the first thing I do is I cut the little corner off using a pair of kitchen scissors. Because I want strips, I don't want moons. No moon. All right, we can set that aside. Now I'm just going to go ahead and cut it. This rice paper is a little difficult to work with, but I'm sure it will manage. It's nice when you have them 2 3-ply. I like the 3-ply because if it starts to act silly, it's still going to hold itself together. What I've done with this parchment paper, you'll notice the parchment paper sitting on the side here, is I've taken probably about a teaspoon of olive oil and oiled my parchment paper. And the reason we do that is because we are going to be baking our bacon in the oven at 450, and we want that oil to make our bacon crispy. There we go. There's our strips. Beautiful. Let's take that. We're going to make our marinade, and it has all sorts of lovely stuff in it. We've got tamari. I have some white miso, molasses. Remember, we're looking for that sweet, pungent, salty, maple syrup. I've got onion powder. That's being a little stubborn. All right. We have some liquid smoke, which gives it that lovely smoked flavor. If you don't want to use liquid smoke, you can go ahead and use something that is called bakon, or you can use something smoked paprika. We're going to add a little olive oil to that, and that's pretty much it. I'm going to go ahead and whisk this up. Just follow the recipe as it is in the cookbook. And you'll see I have my little paintbrush here, which I love my paintbrush. We're going to be painting both sides of our bacon strips. Here comes our artistic work. All right. So we're just going to paint it. Sometimes when I make this bacon, which is a really good tip, is if I have made the marinade first, instead of stripping the bacon first, making it into strips, I'll paint the marinade in between the sheets because I find that gives it kind of a all the way through kind of flavor. But for time's sake, and because we're making this demo, we're doing it the other way, but either way is great. Here we go. We're going to flip this over. We'll put it on our oiled sheet, and then we'll come and paint it again. This is, once you get the hang of doing this, it's so easy to do. My goodness. And you can do the half moons, just doesn't look very bacony to me, but we'll do them anyway. Whoa, okay, well there goes my little paintbrush. One moment. Paintbrush down. Oh dear. Well, you never know what's going to happen in my kitchen, that's for sure. So we'll go ahead and continue painting. Get them nice and coated. And there's other tricks to the trade to this as well. You can actually, once you get this going on one side, and then you can flip them and paint them again if you have extra marinade. As you play around with this, you'll find different techniques I'm sure that you'll like, and hopefully you'll just kind of share that with people. But what a great way to make our rice paper bacon. So here it is here. It looks pretty good. Now we're going to put it in the oven. Oven is at 450. And we're going to do our due diligence and let that go for about 5 minutes. And we're going to keep an eye on it because it will burn quicker than you can say Rumpelstiltskin if you're not paying attention. So let's take a look at our next demo, which is another type of bacon. And I love this one. This is coconut bacon, and this is bacon that is raw. So as we get all set up here, you'll notice that I have the meat already cut. I've taken 4 young Thai coconuts. And you'll see the meat here. Got all that liquid that I drink every morning. Love coconut liquid. Love it. All right, so let's take a peek at our recipe. Here we have our coconut meat, and you're going to cut these into the strips the way you want it. There's really no width perfection because it's going to be in the dehydrator, and as that dehydrates, then you're actually going to take it out at the crispness that you want. So really it's everybody's preference. Nobody's is better than anybody else's. It's just the way it is. I'm actually going to cut them in strips about like this. Kind of a good thickness. Depending on what you're going to use it for, you might actually use it just for snacks. Might be something that you put on top of salads. Everybody does it different. But it kind of shrinks down because it is dehydrating, and this is full of liquid. Coconut has good fats. It's very good for you. I've heard it be told that it helps with Alzheimer's, so there's been different studies done on coconut. Coconut's good for the skin, it's good for the hair. It's just good stuff. And this is good fats, not bad fats, which is nice. All right. This is so easy to do once you get the coconuts open. And you'll notice in the book I've given you that coconut demo. So to open up a young Thai coconut, you'll find that in one of the pages in the book. Just go ahead and refer back to that and watch the video. And what seems to be so intimidating, you'll find to be quite easily done. Sure looks like a lot of coconut, doesn't it? All right, the things that we're going to be putting on the coconut and stirring it in with our hands is tamari. We have garlic powder, liquid smoke, and sea salt. Very simple. You have to remember that this has its own fat already in it, and it has a sweetness in it simply because of the fact that it is coconut. I heard the oven make a noise. That is almost ready to flip. Okay. So here we have our coconut looking in nice strips just like this, which is great. Now we're going to go and just add our marinade. We're going to do it, this is called finger fun. Here we go, we're going to pour our tamari in here. We have our paprika. Going to add our liquid smoke and just mix this up just like that. We've got our onion powder, and we're going to add just a dash of salt, and that is pretty much it. We're just going to stir this up, and we'll be placing this on our dehydrator sheet, and we will have this going in the dehydrator at 115, and it will sit for sure overnight, 8 to 12 hours, and it will be ready to go. Well, let's see what's going on in the dehydrator before we add more to it. This also is the coconut bacon. It is really delicious. It's got a different texture than what will be coming out of the oven. It's more of a meatier texture opposed to the crisp that we have here. It is an amazing color. It has kind of the strip color of bacon. If you can take a look at that, how interesting that looks, because it is quite, looks like bacon. And it is delicious. This one's great on salads. Okay, so we'll set this aside and go ahead and do our trays. We're going to be using the sheets. But before we get to that, let's go ahead and flip our bacon. 40 seconds to go, and it seems to be rocking and rolling. Here is our bacon, crisping right up, and we're just going to flip them. Please don't. Ooh, that's hot. This is a different rice paper, so it's a new one for me. It's a different brand. I thought I'd give it a whirl. It seems to be working nicely. Not all rice paper is exactly the same, but hey, it seems to be doing it. Yep, we beat you to the buzzer. Thank you. And we're going to go ahead and put this right back in again. This one here is pretty crispy. Go ahead and pull that one out. It's a little crispy. And we'll put this right back in again. Love the paper, works well. We'll put it in for just 2 minutes. We'll probably put it in for 1 minute and 30 seconds, 1 minute and 50 seconds, and try it again. All right, let's get back to this one. We're just going to take our marinade and roll this around the coconut and get it going nice, and then we're just going to put it on our dehydrator sheet. Very simple. And it will shrink down just like the other one. It's amazing how much this shrinks down. But that's okay. That's what we want. We want it to be delicious. We want it to be meaty and nice and flavorful. So here we go. That's a pretty big piece. There we go. Just put these right back in the dehydrator. Lovely. Smells really good. I wish you could come be here and smell how nice and smoky this is. And I didn't add the salt. What I like to do with this is just sprinkle it with sea salt. Very nice. Another tidbit for you. Oops, looks like we're getting a little crooked here. Got the salt on this one. Because we're looking for sweet, we're looking for salty, smoky, and we're looking for delicious. Perfect. About 3 trays. Remember, we're going to do this at 115, 118. Get the right consistency we're after, and then that will be it. That will be your coconut bacon. It's very easy to do. I think the hardest thing to do on the whole deal is actually cleaning the coconuts. Other than that, we're good. Well, that's it for that part of the coconut bacon. Now let's take a look at the rice paper bacon. It is done. And remember, it can get away from you, so you really want to keep a watchful eye on it. Yeah, this one got just a little bit away from me, but it's still going to be delicious. You can see that all rice paper is not the same. These look a little different than the other one, and I did try a new rice paper, so just to see. But you got to keep a watchful eye on what you're doing so that it is the right texture that you're after. Not all of it is the same, but it is sweet, it is salty, it is delicious. It is rice paper bacon, and you can hear the crunch. Oh yeah, it's bacon.